Well, even though Wayward Pines continues to get better, the same problems remain week to week. Hey guys, camera for Wayward Pines, Season 2, Episode 3, Once Upon a Time Wayward Pines. And I was really looking forward to this episode, mainly because it seemed like it was going to reveal a lot, and give us a lot of the background of the characters, find out more what's going on, and that is what this episode did. It did give us a lot of information. It was a very exposition-heavy episode. The problem was, once again, we bring back a character from Season 1, only to kill her off again, and it's ridiculous. Stop doing this, honestly. All this is doing is getting people who watch Season 1 and say, this is not Season 1 anymore, throw it in our faces. But I will say, I do think this is the best example they've done of it yet. Definitely, I do think this is the best episode we've had of the three. But still, the ending really pissed me off, and I really did not like the way this episode went in the end. But let's just get in this episode, because there is a lot to talk about, and there is a lot that happened in this episode. But we start off with Pam, Pam is back in this episode, which it was awesome to see Melissa Leo back. She talks about how once upon a time Wayward Pines was a little boy, Jason Higgins, who didn't know how special he was, and right away this tells us, okay, we're going to find out the story of Jason, we're going to find out really what's going on with him, because Jason was a character that was just randomly introduced in episode 9, and we didn't really know how much power he had, or why he really was here. In this episode, we start to realize why. So 2 first-generation soldiers are on patrol. When they hear something move up ahead, they move forward, guns ready, discover that it's a deer, and at the hospital, Arlene tells Theo that there are rumors that the Abbies have left for good, and that they might leave them alone. But obviously, we know that's not true, because like I've said, the Abbies are persistent. They want the land to be theirs. They want the land for their own. They don't want humans to invade their land, and they want to have absolute power, pretty much. I've talked about this. And even though the Abbies, we haven't really seen a lot of them, that's at least what I'm getting, is that they don't want the humans to take their land, and that land is theirs, and they don't want anyone else to take it. So he doesn't believe it, but Arlene insists they have to have hope. She invites Theo out for a celebratory drink, and he reminds her that he's married. Arlene points out that what's in Wayward Pines stays in Wayward Pines because there's no one else, and really that's true. I mean, they're the only humans left in this town, and basically, because of that, sometimes we have to make some decisions that might not seem good, but in this case, they kind of have to. And while this episode was about Jason, it did have some really good stuff for Theo, and I definitely really did like that. Jason Patrick, I think, had some really great scenes just in this episode alone. So in Jason's office, Jason insists that the Abbies are gone. Carrie isn't convinced that, she thinks that they're definitely still out there, but Jason figures that they've scared off the Abbies with the flamethrowers, and she points out that if Ben is dead, then Jason has killed a member of the first generation, and we know that Ben is dead, obviously. We pretty much saw Ben die, but we didn't really get confirmation that Ben is dead, and we still don't really get confirmation in this episode. It's just more of, oh, if he's dead, then you killed a member of the first generation. It's not really going beyond that. But at home, Theo then tells Rebecca about the news about the rumors concerning the Abbies. He wonders why everyone puts so much faith in Jason, because Jason has shown he's not really the most trustworthy guy, and Rebecca says that Jason was groomed to rule. When she says that sometimes they have to stop asking questions, Theo says that he can't. He's desperate for answers, and you definitely see in this episode. The one thing Theo just wants is answers. Why is all this happening? Things like that. And that's something I think that Ethan did want, but he did it a lot more sporadically. No, Jason needs him, Theo needs them, pronto. He's not gonna wait. He's gonna get those answers, and he needs to get them at some point. So Jason and Carrie are at home in bed when they hear something downstairs. When he goes downstairs, Jason finds Mario with Pam, and there's Pam, and right away we get this flashback of realizing really what's going on with Jason, because Jason is the firstborn son of Wayward Pines, we find out, and he rides his bicycle around the hibernation chamber. The Pilchers raised him and taught him the important lessons of the new world. Later he asks about and this makes sense, this is why Jason, has such deep faith in, David Pilcher, because David Pilcher is technically his father and Pam is his mother. And later he asks about the other people in hibernation cells. Pam shows him how they have everyone's lives planned out. CJ comes in, says this is a very different world outside of Pam says that they'll help the people adapt, but CJ warns that's not natural what they do. She warns CJ to be careful, and CJ says that Jason should know everything. He smiles and leaves, and Pam tells Jason that he'll know what to do because it's his world, and he's in control of it. And that is why Jason is now, the ruler of Wayward Pines. That's why he controls everything, because that's what he was trained to do. And even if he didn't initially want to do that, this is what they made him do. And It's really interesting to see. So Mario says that Pam just arrived, offers to stay. Jason says that it won't be necessary. Pam agrees, and once Mario leaves, Jason wonders why Pam is there. And when they agreed that she'd stay in the house, he reminds her that she killed her brother, and Pam asks if he understands why she did it, because, she had a very good reason. Obviously, he was going to blow up the entire town, and she's been watching the town and the difficult choices that Jason has had to make, and Jason says that he's been reading, David's plans, and once their numbers grow, they can start resettlements outside of the fence. And Pam says that she knows every step of the plans, asks Jason to let her help guide him. Jason wonders how it would look if he let her back in now, because he just doesn't think it'd be a good idea for him to do that, but Pam says that it would look like the evolution of a great leader. It would show that he is a great leader, it would show that he can be trusted, and, she's saying that this is the right thing for him to do, is to let her in. So, really interesting the way it was done. I really like the story between Pam and Jason. It's really interesting overall, and by far is some of the best stuff we've gotten, I think, this entire season. So the next day, the townspeople are waiting in the street. Jason and his men walk down the street with Pam. CJ tells Theo that Pam killed David to save Wayward Pines. Jason stops, says that the mother Wayward Pines would join them. Megan scoffs, but Jason insists that Pam was tested on Invasion Day and has only moments to make a decision. Basically, she had only moments, and he says they continue, and it's true. I mean, if she would not have killed David, they would have been killed. And he says that they continue to evolve to heal. The future lies on our expansion beyond the fence. They have to present a united front, and Pam will help them take the bold steps into the future with forgiveness. And some of the townspeople applaud. Megan leaves without doing so, and this is what really bugs me about this episode, is the fact that he's saying, oh, Pam's gonna help us, and then what ends up happening at the end of this episode, which we'll get into. But at the hospital, Pam returns to her duty and uniform, and right away she's back at being a nurse. And you can tell it's not really what she wanted to do, but again, when you're assigned a job, you have to go with said job, pretty much. And Arlene says that's good to have her back, but hesitates about having a drink with her. Theo sees her enter a ward and follows her in because he wants answers. He figures that Pam has the answers that he needs. Pam says they met a long time ago. He points out that she was forced to stay away. Pam says that he wouldn't understand because he was awake when she had to kill her brother. She brings up his relationship with Rebecca and suggests that being in bed with Rebecca must be like the first time. And Pam realizes that he hasn't reconsummated his relationship yet and tells him to get it. And Theo wonders why he's there. And she describes the bartender in Hawaii and says that it wasn't just about Theo. Theo promises that they'll talk later and tells her to have a report on his desk. Pam mockingly salutes him, and once Theo leaves, Pam takes out a hypodermic from a cabinet and quickly leaves. So, really interesting. You don't really know what's going on there, why Pam is acting this way, you don't really know. So that overall was really interesting. But then we get a flashback where we see Jason is celebrating his birthday at a party, but he starts to feel very hemmed in. Pam notices, comes over, inviting him back to the party. Jason says that they're not his friends, and they don't like him, just as Megan comes over. And he tells Jason that Pope is bringing a new ice cream flavor just for Jason. Tells Pam to go back, and once they're alone, Megan says that she understands what it's like to feel unhappy on a birthday. And you really get this sense that Jason didn't get to be a real kid, and that's kind of why he's acting the way he did. But I will say, the episode's trying to get us to feel bad for Jason, and while I do feel bad for him, I don't at all condone what he's doing. And basically, she says that Jason can come to her to tell him anything he's feeling, assures Jason that it's right as the firstborn son of Wayward Pines. Jason wonders if Pam and David are her real plans, and Megan hesitantly says that they are, and they have exciting plans for Jason's future. As for the other children, Megan says that they know they will be standing in line behind him, and basically, he's going to be the one to lead the first generation. That was his plan all along. That's what they wanted to do. Even if he didn't want to do that, that is what he was born to do, and that is what he must do, and that is why he's doing it now, and that's why he has so much faith in David and things like that, totally because of what Megan said to him there. Speaking of Megan, we get this very strange scene with Megan, in teaching the first generation. Probably the weirdest scene we've ever gotten with Megan is in here, because this is just bizarre. We see Megan tells her class that exploratory steps are being taken, however they must take the most important steps themselves. Megan starts talking about procreation, and remember, these are a bunch of little girls and boys, and Lucy points out that they won't be officially parents until graduation. Her teacher said that some of them are already on their way, points out several girls, including pregnant ones, and I'm talking about young girls here, and oh my god, that is disturbing. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just so disturbing, and I can't look past that. It's disturbing as shit, and I get that that's the point, but it's really disturbing. And she then has 4 female students, including Lucy, go down to the library to get some special reading materials, and that was probably one of the most uncomfortable scenes I've had to see in this entire show. You did not need to tell me that all these little girls are pregnant. You did not need to tell me that, and who knows who the father is. I mean, we don't even know, but Megan says that they haven't had their blooming yet. Until then, they'll have to study up, and basically, I guess once they have a child, then then they can leave the school. I don't really know. I mean, this really confused me. It was just kind of gross, honestly, and I really was not into that part of the episode at all. I thought that was very strange, definitely. So Pam goes to the mountain, tries to go in. Mario says that he isn't sure of the protocol. Pam reminds him that Jason says she should be welcome back. She goes into Jason's office and remembers shooting David there. And I love the way that scene was done, the way she has those painful memories in her head. She didn't want to have to shoot David, but she had to. And Pam then goes to the lab where the Abbies are being kept, gets a bottle of serum from a case. Megan comes in and sees Pam. Pam pockets the bottle. Pam steps out, says that she's impressed with what Megan has done. Megan says that she now studies the Abbies' habits and tries to find a weakness in their genetic code, because obviously there's something that makes them weak, and she doesn't know what it is. Basically she talks about how difficult it is for Jason, and Pam apologized for what she had to do to David. Megan says that she respects that, but won't pretend to welcome her back as a hero. She warns that Pam won't get forgiveness from her and tells her to go on her way. So I understand why no one really is welcoming Pam back with open arms. I mean, when you kill the person that this town deeply respects, I mean, obviously you have a very bad reputation, and she just doesn't really belong in this society. And Theo then visits Rebecca at a beauty shop, sits down for her haircut. He tells Rebecca what Pam said about being in Hawaii, and asks Rebecca where her wedding ring is, and Rebecca says that they never gave it to her, and Theo relates what Pam said about Hawaii not just being him. Remember, when you go to Wayward Pines, it's supposed to be like a fresh start, you know, you're not married, it's pretty much a clean slate for you, and Theo relates what Pam said about Hawaii, about not just being about him, and his wife claims that she does remember everything either, and that's really interesting that she doesn't remember, because last week she said she does remember and she does have memories intact, and now she's saying she doesn't. So I really am confused with what's going on there. Pam then goes to her home, finds two boys painting murderer on the side. They run off. Pam goes inside past the dummy they hung in effigy, and she gets her best dress out of storage, lays it on her bed, then prepares to inject herself with the serum she stole. However, Pam sees Theo coming up, quickly puts the serum away. She greets him at the door. Theo says that he needs to discuss the staff shortage at the hospital because he's the only, him and Pam are the only ones there. And Pam reluctantly lets him in. Theo asks what it was like for her to beg forgiveness from Jason for breaking her own rules, and she says that it wasn't an invasion on Invasion Day because David let the Abbies in. And Theo asks why she shot David, and Pam says that's her brother's mind is snapped, and then he asks about Hawaii and wonders why they chose Rebecca. So he's kind of getting some of the answers here. Pam tells him to go because that's an answer she can't give him, and after Mo and Theo leave, she then goes upstairs, gives herself the injection, and at the mountain lab, Megan has to have a lab tech check the drugs. He discovers that Pam took a bottle of variola major, and Megan goes to call Theo because obviously whatever she took, I mean, I really fully understand what she took with this serum. I don't really understand it totally, but I guess she just took it because I honestly don't really know. That part of the episode kind of confused me. But Jason's then reviewing the reclamation plans with Carrie, Mario, and CJ. He says he wants Pam to be there with them and says that he wants the first group to go out in a week. And Pam arrives wearing her dress, kisses Jason on the mouth. CJ reviews the development plans. Theo comes in with Megan, tells everyone except Pam to get out of the room without touching anything. And when Jason wonders why, Megan tells him that Pam took smallpox from the lab, and Theo wants to test Pam for smallpox. And basically, that's exactly what she did. She took smallpox. And Megan warns that Pam wants to kill all of them, and Pam says that Wayward Pines is over. She's known it ever since she killed David, and she points that they're turning against each other and appeals to CJ, and that CJ knew this as well, that he knew that Wayward Pines is over. And Pam tells Jason that she's trying to give him a gift, begs him to lead his people to a peaceful end, and that this is basically the end. They're not going to make it, and I don't think she's wrong. I mean, if Abbies are most of the population, there aren't many humans left, and Jason stares at her in shock, then tells Mario to take her, and this just felt completely out of left field. I mean, it seemed like this was more of an introduction to Pam and more of getting Jason's background, but then when this turned into Pam wanting to literally destroy the town and end Wayward Pines, I mean, then I was kind of out of it. I'm like, really, what are they trying to do here? Because we see after Invasion Day is over, Jason tells Pam that he contained the Abbies and killed the traitors. He asks where David is, and Pam breaks into tears, and basically we're supposed to think this is during the finale, like what we didn't see in the finale, which I thought was kind of cool. But he asks where David is. Pam breaks into tears, knowing that she killed her brother. You can tell she really does regret it, and it's probably one of the strongest scenes of the episode. Melissa Leo did such a great job in this scene, and Jason assures her that she was right, and the townspeople's lives are in his hands. Pam says that it isn't what they wanted for him, slaps Jason. She tells him that it's tragic to celebrate any death, and says that there is no humanity in murder, and there's nothing really good about it. I mean, she clearly regrets killing her brother. You definitely see that regret looming over her, and she definitely, never thought she'd have to do something like that. So Jason visits Pam where she's locked up, talks to her through the protective glass. He asks if she always knew that Dave's plan would fail. Pam says that he's not just a son of Wayward Pines, he's her son, and he is in fact her son, and she raised Jason to be as tenacious as he is. She will find a way to correct her mistakes, and as Jason stares her, Pam says that he can't let her die of smallpox, or he can kill her. You know, there's two choices, and Jason cries and a few minutes later walks out, and this is the part of the episode that pissed me off. You pretty much know that Pam is gonna die. Why couldn't we have just had Pam on for at least 2 more episodes? I think it just would have made more sense here, because the way that they're just bringing characters on just to kill them off is really pissing me off. But Theo that meets him says that Pam is still in an incubation period and didn't affect anyone, and Jason tells Theo that he is a hero for saving the town, refused to let him administer the antidote to Pam, and that night Jason takes Pam out into the forest. She admits that what she told him was just a fantasy of what Wayward Pines should be. What really happened is that the boy looked at the town and wanted more, but the more belonged to the Abbies, and when he realized that, the boy became sad and wished for grace. Jason strangles her, gently sets her on the ground sobbing, and he's just killed his own mother. And this really pissed me off. I could not get over what they did. Why are they just randomly bringing back characters just to kill them off? Again, do what the Leftovers did. They had a good way of balancing characters, but introducing new ones. And this show clearly doesn't want to have to do that. No, the only character it seems like they're doing that with is Teresa. Now, why Teresa? I don't know. She's the most uninteresting of the bunch. Why are we focusing on her? I have no idea. Pam, you could have brought Pam on here. I understand, obviously, you can't have David Pilcher, but it would have just made sense to have Pam there with Jason. I think it just would have made a lot of sense there. They completely killed her off. They don't want anything to do with her, and it's really annoying because Melissa Leo was fantastic in this role, and the way they just randomly killed her off really pisses me off. I'm not a fan of that at all, and Jason returns home. Carrie wonders if it's done. He says that they should talk about what's going on with the first group, makes it clear he doesn't want to talk about what happened with Pam, and that he doesn't want to really admit that he killed his own mother, but he did, and he needs to face that. So, at home, Rebecca sits with Theo, asks if he's okay. Her husband says his father never gave him any gifts, and when his mother died after the service, Theo's father gave him his retirement watch and had a beer with him, and once a week after that, they met at the bar. Theo wonders where his father did when he disappeared, tells Rebecca that he'll never forget it. Rebecca takes Theo's hands in her own, and clearly there's something more going on there with Theo's father. Now, we don't really know what happened there, and we don't know how Rebecca got there either, so I think that overall is going to be really interesting to figure out what's going on with that. And I do know that episode 5 is going to be us finding out, what Wayward Pines is all about, how Wayward Pines come to be, things like that. So the soldiers wearing gas masks toss Pam's body on a fire. After they leave, CJ emerges from the shadows, watch the body burn. You kind of get the sense that something might have happened between these two, like maybe they had some sort of a relationship. I just kind of got that from the scene. But that is how the episode ends. Let's just get into this because I really did enjoy it, but it really did piss me off as well. So overall, guys, I do think this was the strongest episode of the 3, but like I said, this whole killing people off from Season 1, the minute that they arrive in an episode, is really pissing me off. They've done it with Kate, they've done it with Ben, and they've done it with Pam, and it's really fucking annoying, and this needs to be the end of it, because Pam, I think they could have kept around. If she wouldn't have taken that damn antidote, and then that wouldn't have happened, then she would not be dead right now. And I get, obviously, they want to kill these characters, I guess, in Season 1, now they get to kill them now, but it's just really dumb overall. I'm not a fan of it. I think they need to end it because it's not working anymore, and just stop killing people. It's really dumb. I don't understand why you have to kill all these different characters that were introduced in Season 1. You could have done a lot of really good stuff with Pam. You could have had Pam, with Jason, have him realize, what he has to do, have her try to stop Wayward Pines from happening, things like that, and have him kind of, go between Pam and Carrie, because clearly those are the two people that he is clashing with. Carrie's telling him one thing, Pam tells him the other. I would have really liked to see that, but no, we have to keep Megan on the show, who really isn't doing much of anything right now for me. I mean, I understand she's obviously studying Abbies, but other than that, she's not doing much of anything, and it's just slowing things down when you kill off a character. It makes that episode feel pointless. Now, this episode was really good. The reveals we got about Jason, with us realizing why he was meant to lead the town, all really good stuff. I definitely really did enjoy that. But what is going on with Theo's father? How does he fit into this? That's what I'm really wondering, is what's really going on there. CJ and Pam, I'm thinking they had something. I really do think they had some sort of relationship that CJ is eventually going to reveal. Now, obviously, Pam isn't a big part of the show anymore, but CJ, I think, is going to reveal what's going on there, definitely. And obviously, there's a reason why Pam does not want to tell Theo about what happened with, Pope, because anytime he brings it up, she, shuts it down. Something else is going on there. I don't really know what it is, but I think that overall is going to be really interesting to figure out what's going on with that. And then as far as what Pam says, that Wayward Pines is over, do you think that she might be true? I mean, I honestly don't think that she's not wrong, that Wayward Pines might be over. They might not be able to survive as a society anymore. I mean, I think Jason wants it any way to keep it intact as possible, but I don't think that Pam is wrong in saying, Wayward Pines could be over and we might not be able to have it anymore. It's very interesting overall. But overall, guys, I don't know what you guys saw this episode. For me, I thought this was the best episode of the season, but it still really is pissing me off what they did with Pam. I really just want them to keep a character on the show. It's not hard to do. Let me know. I will see you guys, though, in my next video, which, guys, all the rest of the videos today will be Tony related. I'll be doing my nominations video, and then I will be doing my live stream at 5:30 when the red carpet starts. I will be doing what I did last year, the red carpet, and then the show, and then we'll see you guys for both of those. Okay, bye.